Okay, so I can see it is 3:30, so we will begin our session. So I'll say hello and thank you for joining us for this week's Thursday 30. I'm Karis, one of CENMAC's advisory teachers, and we've got Azraa Saleh, London Key Account Manager from No Isolation with us today, and she is going to talk about the AV1 robot and how it helps people stay connected and feeling a part of the school community, even when they are unable to attend school in person. So if you have any questions for Azraa, as we go, please type them into the chat and we will take time at the end to answer those. The session is being recorded for anyone who can't join us live today, and the recording will soon be available on our website for anyone who has missed it or who would like to rewatch. So thanks, Azraa, and over to you for now.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. As Karis said, I'm Azraa. I'm the London lead for No Isolation, and I work with the AV1 robots. If you've not heard of the AV1 robot before, it is that little device that you can see on the screen right now. The AV1 robot is a telepresence solution, and it's designed to keep children connected to their school settings when they can't physically attend. So just kind of think a few things that we'll run through the session is understand the societal challenge and what motivated the AV1, how the AV1 works and how it exists in school frameworks, the impact the AV1 delivers, and just help you be more equipped and informed around making decisions around the AV1. So starting from kind of the beginning and why the AV1 came to be. So our founder in 2015 actually designed the AV1 for a child who was struggling to attend school because they were having their cancer treatment. And so it's a very, very different version. It doesn't look anything like our version that we currently have, but it was designed to keep that child more connected to their school settings whilst they had treatment in school. So I've got a short video that I will show, and it just runs through kind of how the AV1 works. Just let me know if you guys can hear it. I think the sound is all working. I have double checked, but just thumbs up or at someone's shout out if they can hear it or not.
This is AV1. For students who are absent due to physical or mental health, AV1 is the next best thing to being in school. Using AV1 couldn't be easier. AV1's shoulders turn solid white to tell you it's connected to the internet and ready. The student then connects via the free AV1 app, entering their secret code to access. When they do, AV1's head rises and the head and eyes light up. AV1 now represents the student in class. A live stream allows them to see, hear and speak in their own voice in real time. So teachers don't need to adapt their teaching style. The student can rotate their view and move the head up and down to follow along with the lesson. Participate and react by changing the expressions on the robot's eyes from neutral to sad to happy to confused. If they want to ask or answer a question, they can virtually raise their hand, making the light on AV1's head flash green. Or if they're feeling too unwell, they can just observe. To disconnect, the student simply presses the hang up button and the robot's eyes will disappear. Teachers can feel secure knowing that only one student can access AV1 at any one time, and that terms of use are in place. The live stream is fully encrypted, not stored anywhere, and cannot be connected to another screen or display. And it's not possible to take screenshots or recordings from the AV1 app. No personal data of the student or anyone in the class is collected. If power drops below 25%, a red flashing light will remind you to plug in. You can safely charge AV1 overnight. You can also leave AV1 on charge during streaming. And use the AV1 admin portal to manage setup and day-to-day monitoring of all robots at your school. When the learning moves, so does AV1, using the carry handle. And with both Wi-Fi and 4G capability, and its own special backpack, the student can connect through AV1 even outside of lessons, ensuring every child can stay connected when they're absent, learn from their own teachers, and belong in the school community.
Fabulous. That's just a nice quick video summarizing what the AV1 is, but we'll go through that in a bit more detail now. So like the video says, the AV1 is essentially the student's eyes, ears and voice in the classroom. We are the leading telepresence solution in the country right now for children and young people who are struggling with attending school. And the AV1 is used for a multitude of different reasons. So this could be this child is struggling because of eczema related issues. It could be for SEN. It could be for treatment. We've got a load of different use cases that are currently being used and seeing impact with the AV1. The AV1 does keep the child connected to their classmates and their school life. We often get asked, how is the AV1 different from, let's say, having Google Classrooms or Microsoft Teams up? And it's the fact that the child has so much control over what they are seeing in the classroom. It is designed to actually replicate the child's experience of being in the classroom. So the fact that the child can rotate a full 360, they can talk to their peers, they've got different volume levels on the AV1, so they can have a whisper. So if they were doing peer work, they can speak a bit more quietly and only the child next to them can hear them. If they're talking wider to the classroom, they can do that. They can raise their hand. They can change the facial expressions on the AV1 to feel a bit more connected with their peers. So it's really designed to actually make the child feel like they are present in school and keep them maintaining those social connections that they miss out when they're not present. So just another rundown on how the AV1 works. It is a live connection and it's an encrypted connection. It's only a one-way stream in terms of video. So the child can see what's happening in the classroom, but the classroom cannot see the child. This was actually an intentional design. It's mainly because when we first started, our biggest use case were children who were having treatment and they didn't want to be on camera. And in a way, it does kind of protect the child. So if the child is struggling with anxiety per se, and they don't want to be seen, there's an extra added layer of confidence when they haven't got their face on the AV1 and only they can see what's in the classroom. It is a human-centric design. It's designed to not draw too much attention. Now, obviously, it does draw some attention because it's a robot, and children are kind of, their interest peaks when they see it. However, what we've seen is that they kind of get used to it and it becomes part of the social fabric of the classroom very quickly. And they actually start to adopt it like they would their peer if their peer was in the classroom. There is a passive mode that the child can join on, and that's so the child joins and it's the fact that they do not want to be disturbed. This can be used in multiple ways. The ways that we hear about it being used most is if a child is either not feeling well and they're having treatment, or they're just not feeling, they're feeling a bit under the weather, then they'll go in passive mode. Or if they are struggling with anxiety and they don't want the class teacher to ask them anything directly, they will also put on the passive mode. It does flash green when the child raises their hand. And at the back, we have a carry handle. So it is very lightweight and transportable. In the beginning of this session, I was talking a bit with Karis about how the AV1 has gone to lots of extracurricular activities. So because of its lightweight nature, and it comes in a very cute little backpack, we have had schools take the AV1 on a PGL trip. We've had the AV1 most recently go on a ski trip for a child who's actually broken their leg and couldn't go to the class ski trip. We had the AV1 go to prom for a child who was in treatment and couldn't actually attend prom. We have a child who the AV1 goes to their football sessions. So that's something that he really misses, not being able to attend school. And so the AV1 goes with him instead, and he's still able to maintain those relationships and maintain that feeling of belonging. How the AV1 works is that a child will connect via a tablet or a smartphone. We are iOS and Android compatible. So on any Android or iOS running devices, you'll be able to download the AV1 app. It is a very simple onboarding. So the child just has to essentially download the app. The school or whoever owns the robot will give them a keyword. And then as soon as the child enters that keyword in the app, they have to answer a few questions. They run through a few safeguarding points, and they are automatically synced to the AV1 app. Only one child can actually connect to the AV1 at one point, so it won't allow two children to connect at the same time, and this is again done for safeguarding reasons. So this is just a quick rundown of how it works. So the child has the app, the robot is in the school, and then whoever is controlling in terms of overseeing the robot will have control of the admin portal and will be able to give the child that keyword. Safeguarding and privacy is probably something that we get the most questions around. So our product was designed with safeguarding at heart and at its core. So there is certainty about who is connecting. So the only way a child can connect to the AV1 app is via a keyword, and the keyword is only accessible via the AV1 admin portal. It is a fully encrypted live stream, so nothing is recorded or saved. The stream is end-to-end encrypted, so it cannot be shared via other devices. You cannot hack it. We are ISO certified, and we would pay PwC, if you see there, to actually try and see if there are any flaws in hacking our product. And so far, we are in the clear, and they have been unable to hack our live stream. So it is very, very secure. Screenshots aren't allowed. So a child cannot screenshot while streaming the AV1. If they tried to screenshot, the AV1 would automatically block, and it wouldn't allow the child to take that screenshot. So the screenshot won't be captured. And this is done so that we can make sure that we're maintaining and protecting the classmates' privacy. And no data is stored, or any information about the pupil is stored. So we can't see kind of who the child is, where they are, what they're connecting to. The only thing that we can see is how long those streams are and how often they are. And that's because we gather that data for whoever's overseeing that robot to see the impact of the AV1. Kind of going more into where we see the AV1 being used and how it's helping. So, like I said, originally our AV1s were mainly for children with prolonged illnesses and injury, and that's kind of our first ever rising user case. Now our biggest user case is EBSNA and mental health support. And where we're seeing a big rise is actually in the early intervention and the reintegration side of things. So where schools are seeing a child struggling or starting to struggle with attending school, the AV1 can be put in as a very great early intervention spot to kind of bridge that gap and get the child more accustomed to the classroom. We're also seeing it a lot more in a special educational needs aspect, and we're having a lot more schools reach out to ask to use it in those set cases. And another rising use case is actually in our virtual schools and displaced and out of school children. And just kind of running through why AV1, it does have proven impact for students. It is best for the child because it allows the child to actually attend that classroom. Like we said, we know that nothing is going to replace the face-to-face and the child actually being physically present, but this is kind of the next best option. So the child still gets to maintain those connections, still gets to have that laugh and those laughs with their friends. We have loads of children that actually only a few times a week will join via the AV1 just to speak to their friends. We have some schools where they allow the children to take the AV1 to break time. So the child will speak to their friendship group during lunchtime, break time, really maintaining that sense of peer connection and belonging. And it is scalable and it's very cost effective. So it's a lot cheaper than kind of one-to-one tutoring. And it does seamlessly fit into the classroom. There's not much that the school or the teacher had to change to kind of use the AV1 robot. With the AV1 robot comes our service package. So in the service package, it's essentially our end-to-end service that we provide for you. You get the robot, the app, the admin portal. However, you also get access to our AV1 Academy, and that is essentially a large bank of resources that we have built up that answer any questions that you've got around AV1. On there, we've got things like letters to parents of the wider classroom, kind of introductory lesson plans for introducing an AV1, onboarding guides, internet guides, all sorts that you can think of. Really, I don't think there's anything you could think of that isn't on there, but if you could, just let us know, and it was something that our customer success team will work on. All of our AV1s are covered with warranty, so if they are damaged, we will replace them. You just got to let us know, and you get access to our customer success team. Our customer success team is made up of educators like yourselves who have previously either worked with AV1 or who have worked with AV1 at a local authority level and have a vast level of experience with implementing AV1s and successes around AV1s. And just to kind of why we work with AV1s and comparing it to other effective alternative provisions is the AV1 in terms of cost is 94% cheaper than tutoring. And it just shows kind of how you can achieve the same results but at a much cheaper cost. And then talking about impact. So the DOV actually endorsed a project on the AV1 in 2019. So they funded 90 AV1s, and these went across multiple different schools. And it was the largest ever national telepresence trial. 75% of pupils actually improved their attendance and they kept up with their schoolwork. And we saw 50% of faster reintegration into mainstream education. And we're still seeing this. So we've got a large array of studies, and we're constantly asking our local authorities, our schools, our charities that we're working to evaluate AV1s and let us know the impact that they are seeing. Just got one final video, and it's a school in Essex, and it's Melsham High. They've actually got 20 robots in the school, and they use the robots in lots of different ways. But it's a very powerful video showing how they've tackled their school non-attendance with AV1 robots.
I'm using the AV1 due to long COVID and chronic fatigue. The AV1 is a little robot. It has a camera and a microphone, and it has facial expressions to tell the teacher what you're feeling. You can be confused, you can be happy. It shows emotions without having to talk.
I'm in year 11 and I wasn't accessing school for a few months due to anxiety. When first using it, obviously I was quite nervous about it, but it sort of helped me to realise once I did go onto it that lessons weren't actually that bad, and that it did help me to integrate back into class. I'm attending school every day due to the AV1.
For us as a school, it's a tried and tested method now. We've got a phenomenal resource. 20 AV1 robots for one school is quite special, I think.
Prior to the AV1s, there was, certainly some issues around persistent absence. Without doubt now we have really managed to get on top of that. That was showed really clearly last year with our year 11s. We had 9 year 11s that we were really concerned we wouldn't be able to get in for their GCSEs, and all 9 of them sat every single exam, and I've got no doubt that that was thanks to the support in their learning that they got through using the AV1s.
I will share this presentation with Carison, and hopefully she can share it with all of you, so that you can actually have a link and look into that case study, because the case study with Melsham High is fantastic. I've actually visited Melsham High, and you get to see the AV1s in all the classrooms, and the children just embrace it, and it's not seen as something different. It's just part of their social fabric now that they have these AV1s. They use them in a variety of different ways. They've actually established a calm room as well within the school, so if a child is struggling to attend a lesson and they're in school, they can actually go and pick up an AV1 and go into the calm room and attend their lesson via the AV1. So the work that they are doing around AV1s is fantastic. And that takes us to the end of my kind of presentation before I open up for questions. I will send around my email address again, but if you do have any questions that come up after the session, please do pop me an email, and I'm always available to answer any questions that I can help with. So